Greetings, listeners. This is Linda from Eco Peace Vision YouTube channel and Eco Peace Christian YouTube channel. This particular broadcast should will end up on the Eco Peace Christian channel because I can organize that one better, I believe. So if you're just now tuning in, the request from Self-Existent One, which is the God of Samuel and Abraham and Sarah, is to listen to this series of Bible readings from the beginning one. The first one starts with Genesis 37 on Eco Peace Vision channel. So there's 4 readings on that station. And then we're continuing on this one, and this is reading number 6. And we're at 1 Samuel chapter 10. We're just going to start again. We got a little ways. We just got to verse number 2 last time. So thanks for listening. The subtitle is Samuel Anoints Saul. The very important thing to keep in mind with this reading is that this is when Father God or Self-Existent One helps Samuel choose the new king, which is Saul, and acknowledges that the people have rejected listening directly to God through Samuel. So the people have rejected God as the king, and they wanted a human king, which, in my understanding, and which we can see with many of them, including Saul and including King David, humans get corrupted. So this is really important, and how it can be seen as the beginning of, I don't know if we can say how things are organized, where people have to give taxes, and there's a question is this the beginning of like capitalism, of the capitalistic state? Is this the beginning of human rulers that are corruptible? The subtitle is Samuel Anoints Saul. And took Samuel a flask of oil and poured it on his head, and kissed him and said, Is it not because has anointed you Yahweh over his inheritance, commander? When you have departed today from me, and you will find 2 men by tomb of Rachel in the territory of Benjamin in Zelzah, and they will say to you, Have been found the donkeys, which you went to look for. Now has ceased your father carrying about the donkeys, and is worrying about you, saying, What shall I do about my son? And you shall go on from there and forward, and come to the terebinth tree of Tabor. That's like a city, I guess, Tabor. And will meet you there 3 men going up to God at Bethel, one carrying 3 young goats, and one carrying 3 loaves of bread, and one carrying a skin of wine. And they will greet you and salute. They will greet you, salute, and give you 2 loaves of bread, and which you shall receive from their hands. After that you shall come to the hill of God, where the Philistine garrison is. And it will come to pass, when you have come there to the city, that you will meet a group of prophets coming down from the high place, and before them, with a stringed instrument, and a tambourine, and a flute, and a harp, and they will be prophesying, and will come upon you the Spirit of Yahweh, and you will prophesy with them, and be turned into another man. And let it be when these signs come to you, that you do as the occasion demands. For serve you God, God is with you, and you shall go down before me to Gilgal, and surely I will come down to you to offer burnt offerings and make sacrifices of peace offerings. 7 days you shall wait till I come to you and show you what you should do. Samuel's signs fulfilled. So it was, when he had turned his back to go from Samuel, that God gave him another heart, and came to pass all these signs that day. And when they came, I'm reading from BibleHub.com/interlinear/1_Samuel/10.htm. So it's directly in the interlinear version. The Old Testament is Hebrew to English or other languages, and we read it from right to left. And then in the New Testament, the interlinear version at BibleHub.com is Greek, and that you read from left to right, Greek to English or other languages. So this is translated directly from the Hebrew. And when they came there to the hill, and there was a group of prophets to meet him, then the Spirit came upon him. The Spirit of God came upon him, and he prophesied among them. And when it came to pass, all who knew him before now, and saw that indeed among the prophets he prophesied, and said the people one to another, What is this that has come upon the son of Kish? Kish. Saul is also among the prophets? And answered a man from there and said, But who is their father? Upon thus it became a proverb. Saul is also among the prophets? And when he had finished prophesying, and he went to the high place, and said the uncle of Saul to him and his servant, Where did you go? So he said, To look for the donkeys. And when we saw that they were not found, and we went to Samuel, and said, Uncle of Saul, please tell me what Samuel said to you. So said Saul to his uncle plainly, He told us that had been found the donkeys, but about the matter of the kingdom not did he tell him what had said Samuel. Saul proclaimed king, and called together Samuel the people to Yahweh at Mitzvah, and said to the sons of Israel, Thus says Yahweh, God of Israel, I brought up Israel out of Egypt, and delivered you from the hand of Egypt, and from the hand of all kingdoms, and from those who oppressed you. But you today have rejected your God, He who saved you from all your adversities and your tribulations. And you have said to him, No, a king set over us. Now therefore present yourselves before Yahweh by your tribes and by your clans. That was verse 19 of chapter 10. That's a very important verse. Verse 20. And when to come near Samuel had caused all the tribes of Israel, and was chosen the tribe of Benjamin. I want to mention that the Benjamin, all the tribes were sons of Jacob, whose name changed to Israel, and Benjamin was the younger of the two sons that Rachel had, and Rachel was Jacob's most beloved wife, the one wife that he wanted to marry, but he ended up getting her sister first and their two servants in the bargain, and many other children. But these were the two children that Rachel had, Benjamin and Joseph. And Joseph was the oldest. So Benjamin was the younger, and actually she died in giving birth to him. Verse 21. And when he had caused to come near the tribe of Benjamin by their families, and was chosen the family of Matri, and was chosen Saul, son of Kish. But when they sought him, and not he could be found. Therefore they inquired further of Yahweh, Hast come yet here the man? And answered Yahweh, There he is hidden among the equipment. So they ran and brought him from there. And when he stood among the people, and he was taller than any of the people from his shoulders and upward, and said Samuel to all the people, Do you see whom has chosen him, Yahweh, that there is no one like him among all the people? So shouted all the people and said, Long live the king! And explained Samuel to the people the behavior of royalty, and wrote it in a book, and laid it up before Yahweh, and sent away Samuel all the people, every man to his house. And also Saul went home to Gibeah, Gibeah, and went with him valiant men God had touched, whose hearts God had touched. But some sons of Belial, Belial, said, How can this man save us? So they despised him, and brought him presents. But he held his peace. Chapter 11 of 1 Samuel. Reading from BibleHub.com/interlinear/1_Samuel/11.htm. The subtitle is Saul Defeats the Ammonites, and came up Nahash the Ammonite, and encamped against Jabesh Gilead, and said all the men of Jabesh to Nahash, Make with us a covenant, and we will serve you. And answered them Nahash the Ammonite, On this condition I will make a covenant with you, that I may put out all your right eyes, and bring on reproach all Israel. Just want to point out, this Ammonite king was not a nice guy. So the men of Jabesh, as I understand it, are Israel, the family of Israelites, and this Ammonite king wants them to be disgraced and to poke out all their right eyes, and then he'll make agreement with them. And said to him the elders of Jabesh, Hold off for 7 days, that we may send messengers to all the territory of Israel, and then, if there is no one to save us, and we will come out to you. So came the messengers of Gibeah, Gibeah of Saul, and told. So came the messengers of Gibeah of Saul, and told the news in the hearing of the people, and lifted up all the people their voices, and wept. And there was Saul coming behind the herd from the field, and said, Saul, what troubles the people that they weep? And they told him the words of the men of Jabesh. And came the Spirit of God upon Saul when he heard these words, and was aroused his anger greatly. So he took a yoke of oxen, and cut them in pieces, and sent them throughout all the territory of Israel by the hands of messengers, saying, Whoever not does go out to battle with Saul and Samuel, so it shall be done to his oxen. And fell the fear of Yahweh on the people, and they came out with one consent. And when he numbered them in Bezek, and were the sons of Israel 300,000, and the men of Judah 30,000, and they said to the messengers who came, Thus you shall say to the men of Jabesh Gilead, Tomorrow shall have you help. By the time the sun is hot. And came the messengers, and reported it to the men of Jabesh, and they were glad. Therefore said the men of Jabesh, Tomorrow we will come out to you, and you may do with us whatever seems good to you. So it was on the next day that put Saul the people 3 in companies, and they came into the midst of the camp in watch the morning, and killed Ammonites until the heat of the day. And it came to pass that those who survived and were scattered, so that no were left of them 2 together. Saul confirmed as king. I just want to point out in that last section that Saul, the Spirit of God came upon Saul twice now. Once when he was prophesying, maybe it was 3 times, but it came upon him even just in that scene. Later, when he falls away from God, God allows a bad spirit to fall upon him. So it is possible for a king to be aligned with God, a human king, but it probably is pretty important for the human king or leader to really seek that connection. I also want to point out that the people asked for a king, but they looked to Samuel to listen to God, and they had God choose the king. So we don't do that these days, and it wouldn't hurt if we would look at this early example and even go back to the point of it is that if we can find real listeners of God like Samuel, men and women of God, seers, then we could hear from God directly, and we wouldn't have a human king or leader that's corruptible, or queen. But at least to also, if you are going to have a human one, why don't we look to God to choose this one? So Saul confirmed as king. And said the people to Samuel, Who is he who said, Saul shall reign over us? Bring the men that we may put them to death. But said Saul, not shall be put to death a man this day, for today has worked Yahweh salvation in Israel. And said Samuel to the people, Come, and let us go to Gilgal, and renew there the kingdom. So went all the people to Gilgal. And they made king there Saul before Yahweh in Gilgal, and they made sacrifices there of peace offerings before Yahweh, and rejoiced there Saul and all the men of Israel, even to greatly. Chapter 12 of 1 Samuel. The subtitle is Samuel's Farewell Address. And said Samuel to all Israel, Indeed, I have heeded your voice in all that you said to me, and have made over you a king. Now here is the king walking before you, and I am old and gray-headed, and my sons are look with you, and I have walked before you from my childhood to this day. Here I am, witness against me before Yahweh and before his anointed. The ox of whom have I taken? That's a question mark. Like, whose ox have I taken? The donkey of whom have I taken? Question mark. Or whom have I cheated? Whom have I oppressed? Or from the hand of whom have I received any bribe? And blind my eyes with which, and I will restore it to you. And they said, Not you have cheated us, or oppressed us, nor have you taken from any hand of man anything. This is Samuel asking, have I ever done anything that was not aligned with God? And people are saying no. And he said to them, Is witness Yahweh against you, and is witness his anointed this day, that not you have found in my hand anything? And they answered, He is witness. And said Samuel to the people, It is Yahweh, who raised up Moses and Aaron, and who brought up your fathers from the land of Egypt. Now therefore stand still, that I may reason with you before Yahweh concerning all the righteous acts of Yahweh, which he did to you and your fathers, when had gone Jacob into Egypt, and cried out your fathers to Yahweh. Then sent Yahweh Moses and Aaron, and who brought your fathers out of Egypt, and made them dwell in this place. And when they forgot Yahweh their God, and he sold them into the hand of Sisera, commander of the army of Hazor, and into the hand of the Philistines, and into the hand of the king of Moab, and they fought against them, and they cried out to Yahweh, and said, We have sinned, because we have forsaken Yahweh, and served the Baals, Baals, and Ashtoreths, Ashtoreths. But now deliver us from the hand of our enemies, and we will serve you. That's a capital Y. We'll serve God. And sent Yahweh Jerubbaal and Baden and Jephthah and Samuel. So these sound like other prophets before Samuel. And delivered you out of the hand of your enemies. I just added a little note, a little comment that Jerubbaal and Baden and Jephthah seem to possibly be prophets before Samuel. So, and delivered you out of the hand of your enemies on every side, and you dwelt in safety. Verse 12. And when you saw that Nahash, king of the Ammonites, came against you, and you said to me, No, but a king shall reign over us, when Yahweh your God was your king. Now therefore here is the king whom you have chosen, and whom you have desired. And take note, Yahweh has set over you a king. If you fear Yahweh and serve him and obey his voice, and not do rebel against the commandment of Yahweh, then will continue you both and the king who reigns over you, following Yahweh your God. And however, if not, you do obey the voice of Yahweh, but rebel against the commandment of Yahweh, then will be the hand of Yahweh against you, as it was against your fathers. Therefore, now stand and see this great thing which Yahweh will do before your eyes. Is not the harvest of wheat today? I will call to you to Yahweh, and he will send thunder and rain, that you may perceive and see that your wickedness is great, which you have done in the sight of Yahweh, in asking for yourselves a king. So called Samuel to Yahweh, and sent Yahweh thunder and rain that day, and feared all the people greatly, Yahweh and Samuel. And said all the people to Samuel, Pray for your servants to Yahweh your God, that not we may die, for we have added to all our sins the evil of asking for ourselves a king. And said Samuel to the people, Not do fear, you have done all wickedness. Yet this not do turn aside from following Yahweh, but serve Yahweh with all your heart. And not do turn aside, for then you would go after empty things, which cannot profit or deliver, for nothing they are. For naught will forsake Yahweh his people, for the sake of his name is great, because it has pleased Yahweh to make you his people. Moreover, as for me, far be it from me that I should sin against Yahweh in ceasing to pray for you, but I will teach you the good and the right way. Only fear Yahweh and serve him in truth with all your heart, for consider what he has done, great things for you. But if still you do wickedly, both you and your king, you shall be swept away. I'm just breaking in to show that if we look on Encyclopedia Britannica, Britannica.com, there is that they talk about the ancient city Gibeah, Gibeah. We can see on the internet under a search for the tomb of Rachel, and we look for photos that are free to share. We can see that there is a tomb that is looked at as a marking place of Rachel's tomb. At Bible-history.com, we can find a map of ancient Israel and see the cities that are talked about in this story, and see the area of Judah that contains the area of the tribe of Benjamin. So this has been Linda with Eco Peace Christian YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. This has been the Key Bible Readings series. Stay tuned for the next readings. Thanks for listening.